Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Sisters Keeper podcast. This is season 3. I am Dr. C, your host. The purpose of this podcast is to talk about issues that concern women across the board. And also, it may concern men as well, but our primary focus is women and also women supporting women in the different issues and life circumstances, not only the challenges, but the trials, the triumphs, the joys that we share. And today I have the honor of interviewing Ms. Zatiyah. And our topic today is when the odds appear to be stacked against you, a familial story of triumph. Welcome to the show, Ms. Zatiyah. How are you doing?
Hey, Dr. C, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation and being here with me today.
Of course, it's my honor.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's jump right in. So we're talking about challenges that you yourself has experienced and how from the outside looking in, it may seem very daunting, it may seem very sad, but there's always that silver lining around the cloud, the silver lining of joy, the silver lining that there is a better future, that there is hope. So, can you share with us a little bit about your childhood? Who did you grow up with in your early childhood? Who was present in your life?
I remember bits and pieces of my childhood, starting around age 7. I grew up with my mom and my two brothers, who are twins, and we all had different dads, by the way, except for the twins. Um, Even though I was young, I could feel that my life with my mom wasn't completely stable. Obviously, then I didn't understand it, but now looking back, I can tell it wasn't stable. So the main people in my life who were just constantly there, um, I'm gonna say my nana and my papa, my grandparents, my mom's mom and my mom's stepdad. They were uh the main people I grew up with in my childhood. So when my mom was with my brother's dad, when I was 7, they were around 5. We got taken away for the first time, and we first moved in with my nana and my papa. And when I was living with my mom and my brother's dad, it was my life. I was normalized by it, but it was constant arguing, constant fighting. And then once I moved in with my nana and papa, it was just me. My brothers went with their dad, and his girlfriend, because my mom and their dad split up. So while I was with my nana and papa, I felt so happy. Obviously, I was upset that I didn't see my mom because there weren't any visitations. But that was when I think I was introduced to the stability and the like just joy. I That was also when I was introduced to God, and because my nana was religious and I just loved being with her. I loved going to church, and it was just so fun. And then I actually don't remember why we were taken away, but I think it might be something to do with drugs or addiction. But so I think around 6 months later, my mom got custody of us again. And at this time, she wasn't with my brother's dad anymore. She actually got custody of my brothers again and myself, and she moved in with my nana and papa. So now it was all 4 of us living with my nana and papa. So it was me, my mom, and my 2 brothers living with my in my grandparents' house. And, um, that was a really important part of my life because I think that's when my mom had met, my sister's dad as well. But, while we're living there, it was fun, it was nice. We all shared 1 bedroom. It was the office area, but we made it a bedroom. And yeah, that was most of my early childhood with my nana and papa.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. So you're the oldest child.
I am, yeah.
Okay, and then under you are your twin brothers.
Yes. And
Okay, and
under,
so somewhere along the way, a sister came along. How old were
mhm.
you then?
I think I was 8 when she was born.
Okay, so
So,
she's the fourth child.
mhm.
Okay, sounds good. So from a young age, the challenges begin within your mom's relationships and within her house,
Mhm.
or should I say, within her life, in her relationship and within her life, and so that, of course, poured over onto you and your siblings.
Totally.
Okay, so now you're living with your grandparents. And so, what happened after that? What event occurred in your life that dramatically changed your life? So, we know that's dramatic, being away from your mom, having to live with your grandparents, of course, whom you already know, you love dearly, you have a good relationship, but then something else happens.
Yes. So, I was removed from my mom twice before she had passed away, unfortunately. But so the first time was when I moved in with my grandparents without her. The second time was when my mom had finally found a house. It was in a trailer park with Nayeli's dad, which I probably shouldn't name their names, but we'll call him Steve.
Okay,
So my mom moved in with Steve in a trailer park, and me and my brothers moved in with them as well.
okay,
And the trailer park, it was in DHS, and my this one trailer that we were in, it was split in half. So there was a whole nother family on the other side, and we had like 2 rooms on our side. So me and my brothers, we shared a room. It was a pretty decent room. It was the room with the bathroom connected to it. So it was pretty decent. And my mom and Steve would stay in the front. And so my mom got pregnant with my little sister, with Steve being the dad. And I think this is when I started getting introduced to not me doing the drugs, but my family witnessing drugs use in my life. So my mom got pregnant with my little sister, and then all of a sudden they started like kind of not locking us in the back room with the bathroom, but like kind of saying we needed to stay back there, and that would happen on days on ends. We would miss school sometimes, but I witnessed my mom and Steve doing drugs, and my mom was pregnant. And I think my me and my brother's only like time to be happy or like a break from the home was when we were at school. So I think that's also when my love for school became like more um I just started loving school. So we would go to school. It was very fun. I liked school. My brothers liked school. We got full meals because at home, obviously, we didn't get that. Being locked in the room, we would like scavenge and look for things ourselves. But so after, what grade was I in? Let's say
hmm
second grade maybe. Um, my mom was about to give birth to my sister, premature, but not extremely. I think it was maybe a month. And my mom was sick. She had diabetes all her life, but all her pregnancies were hard for her. But plus she was on drugs. My sister, I think, was born on being, what's it called? When you're addicted to drugs when you're born.
right. I
Like,
understand.
okay. My sister was born with that, and obviously, the hospital was like, what? And so they kind of talked to my mom, and I guess it was fine. Like they let her keep us, but she had to do meetings and stuff.
hmm
So my sister came home, and they were good for a little while. Like my mom and Steve, uh, they they became more into our life again, like helping us out with things, doing birthday parties, all sorts of things actually. And then 2 months in, I don't know what happened. Me and my brothers were at school. My sister was at home with Steve and my mom. I think Steve was working. I think my mom was the only one home with my sister Nayeli. Her name is Nayeli. And me and my brothers were at school, and then I get called. Uh, they're like, "Zatiyah, you need to take your stuff. Go to the office." I'm like, "Okay." So I get my stuff and I'm walking to the office, and I look over and I see my brothers also walking to the office. I'm like, "Oh, hey guys, let's walk to the office together." Walking, and there's a lady in there, and she said, "Can you come to this room? We're gonna have a talk." So me and my brothers went to the room, and she explains that she's a social worker and that we have to come with her because something's happening. And we're like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, okay. So we go into this van, and then I don't know why, but this is a memory I vividly have. But we go into the van thing and or SUV, and it has like TVs on from the roof, and we were very excited by that. And then she played a movie. I don't remember what movie it was, but yeah. So we end up going to this big building, and then they kind of leave us in the big building. It was me and my two brothers. They kind of just like scoot us in this like waiting area. There was beanbag chairs. I remember beanbag chairs, and we were sitting there waiting for a little bit. And then that's when I met Miss Terry and Carlos. They were my foster parents, and they explained to us what was happening. We were gonna come live with them for a little bit, and we were a little confused because no one explained to us what happened to our sister. Like, where was our sister? They did say that she also got taken, but we didn't see her.
Mhm.
And then yeah, so we went with them to their home. And I think this is they explained to us that my mom was pushing so hard for me and my brothers to be together in the same foster family, and we ended up being together. Um because that's not normal. Normal families, they get ripped apart, and that's what I'm extremely grateful for, was that I was able to be with my brothers. So we go to their house, and then they explain that we're gonna be there for a little bit. I kept on asking how long, but no one ever told me a thing. It was 2 weeks before I got to see my mom and my little sister again. So, uh, 2 weeks happened. They were what are they called? Supervised visits.
Mhm.
And we would be in like a little building. We would have like a social worker in there. My mom was in there. Um, Steve was in there. My sister was there. We got to see my sister. And then after a little while, there started being non-supervised visits. So we would go to like a public space, like a McDonald's or something with like a play area. And Miss Terry would drop us off, me and my brothers, and then my sister's foster parents would drop her off. And we'd all be able to be together. And then once it was time to get picked up, they would come. And then a little after that, it started being overnight visits. And I didn't know this at the time, but my mom had gotten a job, and then she was clean. I'm not sure for how long, but she was attending, I think they're called NA meetings, and all sorts of things. So then we started doing overnight visits where me and my brothers and Nayeli would all go to my mom's new apartment with Steve. They had an apartment together and would spend like a weekend. And he did that twice. And then they told us we're officially able to come back with them, which it was only 6 months we were in foster care, which
Okay.
I'm like, yeah. So then my we packed at my foster parents' house, and then they dropped me and my brothers off at my Nana and Papa's house instead of the apartment. And then yeah, we moved into the apartment, and everything was really well. And then so while we were in foster care, my mom and Steve got married. And while we were living in an apartment, I guess wasn't it didn't end up going really well. They started arguing again, fighting, and this is also when I started noticing abuse, like my mom getting hit. My mom, like, she had PTSD, and she would have like episodes, and then Steve would like, I don't know. I'm not sure how to completely explain it, but he would like try to like hold her down, and like it was hard to watch. I was confused, and I would like yell, and then they would yell. It was uh interesting, to say for the least. But
Okay.
um yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So prior to that time leaving, you were taken twice. The first time you went to your grandmother's by yourself. The second time your brothers went and your mother was there. Now, along the way, she gets with Steve and she has her fourth child, but then you guys are taken, but not to your grandparents' house. Do you know why you weren't taken to your grandparents' house this time around and placed into the foster care system?
I'm not completely sure, but I think it was because my nana was like, no, like you need to actually do better. You can't just say you're going to do better. You need to have them physically taken away in order to be better. So I think that's what happened because I'm sure my mom asked all of our family members, "Hey, can you step in and take my kids while I get better?" But I think they all said no because we were taken before and she got better, but then she collapsed again. So I think they wanted to show her like what can happen if you don't fix yourself. Um, so
So
yeah.
now she's married. And then also, you mentioned she wanted all of the siblings to stay together, but only you and your twin brother stayed together, but your little sister went to someone else's home. Do you know if that
And
was the decision of the department, social services, or
I'm not sure because I think for each foster family they have like an age range that
mm,
they are okay with taking. My brothers were just barely there, like because she had normal like I think 5 to like 12 years old,
mhm.
but our sister actually was placed with our foster parents' sister. So it was
Oh,
because
okay.
yeah, so we knew she was safe. We knew who she was with, but we didn't see her obviously, but we did know who she was with, which I think is really awesome because that's not normal.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
yeah.
Okay, good.
hmm
So now you guys are all back together. You're in the house, and you're there with your stepfather and your mom. So now there's physical abuse. Now, do you see at that time drug use again?
I don't see it, but I think it might have been happening.
Okay.
Um, yeah, because my mom and Steve were doing drugs before. I don't know if they were doing it still. She was attending NA meetings. I actually remember, I'm not sure where my siblings were, but when they had these meetings, I actually went with them a few times and I memorized oh gosh, the Serenity prayer
Oh
they
yeah.
do in the beginning. It's kind of sad, but yeah, I memorized that. I would like stand in the circle and do it with them and stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure where my siblings were during these times. Maybe a family member. Anyways, oh gosh, what was I? Oh yeah, so I started witnessing like physical abuse, more just more negativity, and so eventually, they separated. They never divorced. She actually passed away with his last name still.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so they separated and my mom, she kept the apartment. He moved out. I'm not sure where he went, but my mom kept all of us as well. But Steve's daughter, my sister Nayeli, she was able to have visits with her dad. Not it wasn't court like they didn't go to court for it at all. It was just something they agreed upon
Hmm.
and it was fine. I think it was like twice a week or something um and like every other holiday. But put into prison. So Nayeli didn't see him anymore and she was 3 years old.
Hmm.
Um my mom got with another guy at this time.
Hmm.
Um and we moved out in with this guy. It was in DHS as well. And his and he and my mom, they were actually doing really well together. And he had a stable job. She got a job and she was doing really well. He had stepchildren, so they would come over every now and then. So now there's a bunch of kids in the house. It was me, my brothers, my little sister, and then his 3 kids. His
Hmm.
3 kids, I was the middle. Like if he had an older daughter, a younger daughter, and a younger son, it would be the older daughter, me, and then his other younger daughter. If that makes sense. It was like I was the middle girl, and so I got along with them really well. And I became close with them. We would see them on weekends and on like and during the summer they would stay over for a while. So My mom and him got pregnant again, and this pregnancy was, I think, the healthiest pregnancy. This was the pregnancy I can remember the most, actually. She was super healthy. She was eating healthy. She was working, so she was able to get like movement. She was moving a lot, and she was most constantly in my life during this time. Um, and so towards the end of her pregnancy, um, I think she might have been a little stressed. I'm not sure completely, but um, I think her and her boyfriend were arguing again. And I remember there's this one argument they had where it was because she was still married with my sister's dad
Mhm.
and she wasn't divorcing him. She's like, he's in prison, it's difficult, like, but he was still upset about it. And I remember it was just not the best. He wasn't physically abusive to us. Like he never hit me, but like if my brothers were in what's it called? Were being like bad, he would like smack them. It wasn't anything bad or anything. But yeah, I know he did drink sometimes, but it wasn't he wasn't an alcoholic. So towards the end of my mom's pregnancy, she started feeling like something in her tummy. And so she went to the hospital. She was, I think, maybe a month in to giving birth, a month before she was supposed to give
Okay.
birth.
So she was almost due, like 8 months along.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just like I said, it was her healthiest baby. And she went and ended up the baby had passed away.
Mm.
And she had a stillbirth. So she gave birth to her dead baby. And I think that was one of my mom's hardest thing. Um, and that is what I think I saw that. I saw that death, and there was been plenty of death before this. Sorry. There has been plenty of death before this. My dad's mom had died and she was really close to me. Her name was I just called her Grammy, but she had passed away. So I have experienced death before, but this was different. Like I saw it firsthand, like my family tear apart because of this. Because after that, my mom and her boyfriend just were not doing well anymore. They constant arguing again. The kids stopped coming. His ex-wife, she was like stopping the kids from going over. I think he was depressed. Like his baby just died. My mom's baby just died. They were both depressed, and I think that's what went wrong.
Mm.
Um, so eventually they just kept arguing, and one night my mom, I'm not sure what happened. I don't really want to get into it, but one night his kids were actually there in like first time in a long time, and they got into a big argument like early in the morning. I'm gonna say 1, 2 in the morning. And I remember I was waking up, my mom was like in my face, like, Zatiyah, get up, we're leaving, we're leaving. Okay, we're leaving. And so I wake up my step siblings, I wake up my brothers, I'm like, guys, we're leaving. I don't know where we're going, we're leaving. But I look outside, cops are outside. What the heck? And so it turns out something bad happened, and um my mom was drunk at this time. So it was like I was confused what was happening. She was slurring her words. Daniel was My mom's boyfriend was yelling, and it was just I was like, goodness, guys. And so me and my brothers and my mom and my little sister had to go to my nana and papa's house
Okay.
because they weren't doing well anymore. So we all moved to my nana and papa's house again. Um, I never saw my step siblings for a while after that. My mom and her boyfriend broke up, obviously, and she took the baby's ashes. It was really weird for this because I was like, what? Because I didn't fully understand it. I was 10 years old, 11 years old,
Mhm.
and they were like, uh what's it called, they were handing the ashes over to each other like it was a actual child going through separation with their parents. And I was like, he's dead. He's in a what's it called? A
Earn.
urn. And uh I guess I didn't say anything, but I was like, okay. Like I was a little confused by it. But yeah, that's the only time we saw Daniel with my mom's ex-boyfriend was when we would bring the urn to him. But after a while my mom ended up keeping him
So
because we never really.
they would like have visitation with the urn. Like you have the
Not
urn for a little while and then the urn comes back.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was it was a little strange to me, but um it wasn't like very often. It was like once every 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But so while we were at my nana and papa's house, my nana got really sick, and they were pretty old. Not pretty old. I think she passed away at like 58. But my nana got really sick, and so we were living there. My We moved back into the office now with another kid, my sister, because she wasn't living there before. It's her first time living there. And my nana and papa were like, "You're not gonna stay here for a while. You need to get on your feet." So she was looking for a place to live. And then my nana got hospitalized. I think she was hospitalized for around 2 months before she had passed away. I forgot what from. I think it was something collapsed. It wasn't her kidneys. I think it may have been her heart or something. But she had passed away, and at this time I stopped. This is really sad. I think I stopped becoming sad when people passed away,
Mm-hmm.
because I noticed there's just so many people already sad. If I'm sad, what is that going to help? So I think at the age of 11, I was just like I would be like there for people, but I wasn't physically or like emotionally sad. Like I was obviously sad, but I didn't show sadness. I didn't
Right.
cry. I didn't.
Outwards. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, her funeral came and it passed, and then I think about a month after that, my mom found a house, but it was with a roommate. So we all all of us went to move in, and we had one room again, and it was with a bathroom. It was really nice actually. And at this time, my mom got with another guy, and this was the last guy. And that's, oh my gosh, that was really sad. I'm sorry. This guy, he was older. He was 17 years older than my mom. And I think that was the most thing for the rest of my family, not her immediate family, but my aunts, my uncles, my papa. He was my papa's worker actually. He worked for my papa's company. So I think that's why he wasn't socially uh accepted by my family. He was just there. No one really cared for him as my mom did. So, um, we move into my mom's friend's house. Um, there's a bunk bed. My mom has her own bed. There's a bathroom. It's a pretty decent setup. We're there for, I'm gonna say, 5 months. I start middle school, 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm there for 2 months. And then we end up moving in with my mom's boyfriend, the guy that isn't socially accepted. We'll call him Mario. So Mario, yes, because I'm gonna have to say that name a lot. I have to remember not to say his real name. Okay, so Mario lives in Yucca Valley. So what happened was he had a small truck. It was I'm not sure what they're called, but it's like a pickup truck, and it only had 3 seats in the front and then a
Mm-hmm.
little back seat in the trunk. So we all get in. Like the setup actually is Mario, my little sister in the middle, and then my mom in the front. And in the back little area, it's my brothers and me. So we're in that little space, and yeah, that's how we drove around for a long time. Um Mario still works with my grandpa at this time. My mom and us, we go into Yucca. We end up moving into his house. He cleaned out a room for us, and now again, me and my siblings are all in one room. It's not the worst thing, but my mom obviously shared a room with him, and he had 3 houses. His house was really messy, really. I'm not sure how to explain it. When we moved in, there was things everywhere. It took him a week to clean out the room that we had. So for the first week, we were sleeping in the living room on his couch. But so we lived there, and then he cleaned out that room, and we moved in to it. And then um for a while it was just the same thing. It was wake up. It wasn't that bad actually when we first moved up there. He was constantly in our life. He was still with my grandpa, so he drove down the hill every morning. And then eventually it just got hard for him because he was taking care of us now, which he hasn't had that in a long time. Like a girlfriend and kids, let alone four kids. So it was just difficult, I'm gonna say. And he did struggle with anger issues. Um, not I didn't know then, but now looking back, they were on drugs again. Um, yeah. So it was like again that life. He had anger issues, so it wasn't like the nicest. He would always throw things. My mom and him argued always from the beginning. I don't know why she stayed with him. When he proposed to her, by the way, she was still married to my sister's dad. He proposed to her. She said yes. I told her I don't like him. You should not. We can't do this. Like like
How old were you at that time?
I'm gonna say 12.
Okay.
And yes. So oh yeah. So in Yucca Valley. Oh
Sorry.
sorry. Sorry.
So tell me about the tragedy that hit your family.
Okay. So after a while from living there, my mom got pregnant again and with his kid. And so then they were together for a little bit and then she got pregnant and then she was pregnant for 5 months. She became really sick and her kidney started failing while she was pregnant and that wasn't good. And so she went to the hospital a lot and um at this one time, she went to the hospital. They told her that she has to terminate her kid, her baby. And my mom had just had a stillbirth before this. So she denied it. She said, no, I'm going to have my baby. And so the hospital in Joshua Tree wasn't very nice. They kind of told her you have to terminate your kid and she when she explained that she had a stillbirth they still said they never gave any kind of hopefulness. They kind of just was like there's no other way, you have to terminate your
Did she
kid.
move forward with determination?
Mm-mm.
No.
She
Okay.
went yeah, so she went down the hill. I'm not sure which one. It wasn't Eisenhower, but it was another hospital. And she had then said what happened in Joshua Tree, and they said, okay, let's take a look. So she ended up having her baby 4 months premature. And that was a big thing in the hospital. And so when she had the baby, they flied her, and I'm not sure if they flied the baby to Loma Linda.
Okay.
And yes, because that's known for baby transplants. Because obviously, when my brother was born, his heart wasn't fully
Developed.
developed, and he had holes in his heart.
Oh,
So they flight him to Loma Linda to get surgery, and my mom and Mario had like drove in there. And at this time, COVID had hit. I was in seventh grade, and so we were home. Nothing was going on. And during COVID, also the hospitals were like stricting down on everything. So only the parents were allowed in to see my baby brother Levi. So we never saw him. And
okay.
then
Hold for just one moment.
okay.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, so she has the baby, and the baby had some challenges. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's progress from there. So at this point, there are five living children. One child was born, stillborn, correct? And so that
Mhm.
makes the total of six. Okay, and that was her last child, your brother that had the heart problems. That was your last sibling. Okay, so take us to the point where the tragedy occurs in your life.
Okay, so once he got brought home, my mom started doing dialysis
Mm.
because like I said, her kidneys were failing. She had
Okay.
dialysis 3 times a week. And halfway through in 2021, she started saying her kidneys were better and were working at 70%. And so she got off of dialysis. Um, then she started working again, and then things happened again, and so she needed to get back on dialysis. In
Mm.
2022, my mom uh was just getting bad, just getting worse. It was the beginning of my freshman year back into school, and now she stopped working. Mario stopped working. We were living off food stamps and cash aid. And so um on one of
So
the
he's no
mornings,
longer working with your grandfather.
mm-mm, nope.
Okay.
And so now my um she had dialysis every early morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and one of us, the kids, would wake up and help her get ready. I stayed in their rooms the night before dialysis so I could help her the most to like put on her shoes, get everything ready so Mario could drive us to the dialysis center. I would bring her in, I would wait for them to hook her up to the machines and then go get home, wake up my siblings for school, walk my siblings to the bus stop, and then, go to school. And so one of these mornings on August 17th at 3 o'clock in the morning, I didn't sleep in their room that night because they were arguing and I wanted to sleep. So, my mom's boyfriend Mario, he comes in my room. He's like, "Wake up! Your mom isn't getting up." And so my mom had passed away at 6 o'clock in the morning. She was pronounced dead, but I had already, we already know she was gone before they pronounced her. But so uh, she passed away, and Mario had uh stated to my family because they all said, "Hey, if you need help with the kids, we can take some if you need like you don't have to keep them, like we want them." And he said, "No, I want them." And they said, "Okay." So yeah, during this time I actually planned my mom's funeral. After my mom passed away, Mario was not he just stopped taking his medication. Um he stopped really caring, and I had to step up into that figure, I guess, for my siblings. And I already had that before, but now I felt like it was even stronger. So I took care of my siblings, and I made sure they were always okay. I stopped caring about school in my sophomore year. I failed all of my classes. I didn't care. I was depressed. We were getting abused at home. He didn't go shopping for things. I had to go to school, and I got these like cards. I'm not sure what they were called, but one of the counselors, they called CPS. CPS always got called, by the way. They didn't do anything, but and cops were called, didn't do anything. So I got these cards, and I would go shopping. I would take the bus, and I would bring one of my siblings in. So I just stepped into that figure of like authority figure into their life. And so I was now 14. I turned 15 in October. And I knew in my sophomore year, I was like, I have to get my siblings out of here. This is not safe. This is not where I want my life to go. If I stay here, I'm not gonna have a successful life that I want. So, after a while, constant CPS coming, constant cops calling, constant abuse. I never got physically abused. My brothers were the most that got physically abused by him. Um, so one time he found out that I was communicating to my family members about what was happening, and he got my phone. He crushed it. Um, and then eventually got us new phones. He wasn't always bad. He was sometimes he was really nice, and then he would go back to being really mean. So yes. Then I feel like I never was able to grieve my mom. Like I said, I planned her funeral. During her funeral, I was making sure everything was going to plan. I was making sure everything was on the timeline. I never really got to grieve my mom. Um, One of my brothers actually, the first time he cried was at the funeral, and I just it was so sad. And I wasn't ever really sad. I think I was sad, but I wasn't um like in distraught. I never got depressed. I never got angry. and like I said, before my mom died, she became a believer. And so I think God took her for a reason, because maybe if she was here now, what would be going on? We don't know. So, um, yeah. So I was hopeful, but I wasn't really able to grieve her, so I didn't really, yeah. So my sophomore year, I was communicating to my family, nothing was happening. One day, Memorial Weekend, 2023 Memorial Weekend. Um, my uh not my stepdad, he actually agreed for my family to take us on a camping trip. My papa, and then because he went camping a lot, so, and we haven't actually went camping for a while, and he actually said yes, it's time. I was originally going to stay home while my brothers and my sister went, but because I had a quinceañera, and then my papa's girlfriend at the time, she was like, no, you're gonna come, let's go pack your stuff. She came in, she walked immediately out because the house was that bad. But so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the camping trip we go, and I only have the stuff I need. My uh papa's girlfriend was like, "Oh, you should bring your school supplies so you could work on some school." I didn't care. I was already failing everything. I there's no chance of coming back from this. But she was like, "Yes, just take this, take this." I was like, "Okay." So Memorial Day weekend, everything was going really well. Everything was fun. And then the last day, my aunt and uncle come up with my cousins and everything. And everything's fine. We're hanging out. And then towards the night time, they said, they brought us, me and my siblings, all into the trailer. And they said, okay, so we talked to a social worker, and they actually said, we can take you. You do not have to go back to Mario's house. And by the way, the only people that went to the camping trip was me, my sister, and my two brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Levi was still up there with his father. So um, we're discussing it, and my one of my brothers, he doesn't want to do it. He didn't want to come down here with. He didn't want to live down here with them because he didn't want to leave his brother. And so I was like, "It's okay if you guys go out for a second while we talk about this." And he said, "Yeah." So we're discussing, and I told him, I was like, "We will see him. We will find a way to have visitations with him. We will find a way to have that. We won't be losing him. He's our brother, you know that." And so I'm explaining that to him, and he eventually agrees. And I say it's safer. It's a chance to have a better life. If we stay there, it's not gonna go well. So that happens, and he eventually agrees. And so my papa calls Mario, and he says, they're not coming back. I'm sorry, but we talked to a social worker, and we're gonna get custody. So the beginning of it was really interesting. So they got emergency guardianship at first, and then about a year later they got not emergency, they got temporary guardianship, sorry. And then after that they got permanent. And then, um, yeah, that's where we are right now. I'm 18, so they don't have guardianship of me anymore, but they do of my sister. And then, oh yeah, when I say they, my aunt and uncle has me and my sister. My grandpa has my two brothers. So yeah, and there's no kids at their house. It's just them and him. Um, so yeah, they're
So that
sophomores
was
and
the
then
family agreement that your aunt and uncle would take the two girls and your grandfather would take the two boys. And so, how many years has it been total that you guys have been in a safe and loving environment?
almost 3 years.
Oh, that's good to hear. It is really hard not to cry right now after hearing all of this, because from an adult perspective that's one thing, but from a child's perspective it's totally something else, especially when your life has been like a pendulum swinging from one to the other and not really knowing, and then been on that roller coaster ride, having those lows and the highs and not really knowing. So it sounds like the conversation that you had with your siblings at 15 was one of guidance, to guide them in the right direction, because sometimes, kids don't know. They focus on this or they focus on that, but not really looking down the road. And by you having had so much more experience than they had with the tumultuous life, with your mother going through her different challenges, not only with the substance abuse, but also with her health challenges as well, and then also her mental stability. And as you're looking at your own life and the future, like you're saying right now, at 10th grade wasn't going so well, but seeing that I met you in college as a college student, somewhere along the way, your life turned. And was that when you moved with your aunt and uncle?
Yes. So after I moved in, I always loved school. I said in the beginning, but my sophomore wasn't good. So when I moved down here, I started my junior year. Like I said, failed every class in my sophomore year. So my junior year, I took 0 periods, I took seventh periods, and I took online courses as well as my normal classes. And I retook my sophomore courses, and I passed everything with an A. And then my senior year,
Congratulations. That's awesome.
thank you. And then my senior year, I challenged myself. I took a guitar class, and that's when I found out I really love guitar. But yeah, so I was all caught up in my senior year, and yeah, and I at the end of the year I applied to 4 Cal States and obviously COD. COD was my go-to from the beginning. I applied to the Cal States to actually see if I would even get accepted. And I got accepted to all 4 of them, and
Nice.
um,
Congratulations
yes,
again.
thank you. And I was like, oh, I'm so proud of myself. Like I know if I wasn't young, I wouldn't have that because I never had time to do homework. I never had time to study. And then when I moved down here, my aunt, she's very studious. And so she kind of taught me how to get like caught up on everything. She taught me how to prioritize certain things and how to kind of just be more successful. And so I'm really grateful for that. And yeah,
That's wonderful. And is your aunt your mother's sister?
my aunt is my mom's stepsister.
Stepsister.
Yes.
Okay. And is that because your grandfather remarried?
Um, yeah. So my papa is my mom's stepdad, and my nana was
Oh,
my
your
mom's.
mother's stepdad. Okay, and that's his
Mhm.
daughter.
Yes. So I'm with
Okay, okay,
my
got it.
yeah.
Okay, got it. But that's still wonderful. And so, what that shows me is you don't have to be related by blood. People are going to love you because of who you are and because of who they are, the heart that
Exactly.
God has given them. So,
Hmm.
as we close out our interview, so would you say that the key people would be your grandparents, even though
Yeah.
your grandmother did pass away, but your grandparents and then your aunt and uncle as well?
Yes, I would definitely say that.
Okay. And then if I were to ask your siblings who are all younger than you, if I asked them who was the core people, would they say that you were one of their core people?
Probably. I would think so
And
because
that's
they
that's
yeah.
awesome. That's really awesome that you always, looked out for them and looked over their life as well. And so how often and how far apart does your aunt and uncle and your grandfather, how far apart are those homes?
They live in we live 10 minutes away from each other.
10 minutes. Okay, not bad.
Hmm.
So how often do you
We
see your brothers?
we see them twice, sometimes more than twice a week. Church, and they come over to study and stuff. So yeah.
That's nice. That's good.
Hmm.
So you guys all have a good relationship. So that's the
Yeah.
four of you. And now what about your youngest brother? How often do you see him?
So unfortunately, we have not seen him in 3 years. Yeah, it's really, really sad. And I promised my brother I would see him. So I'm now 18, so I can make my own decisions. So I think I'm gonna plan on going up there and talking to Mario and tell him like I forgive you and I want to have a relationship with you and my brother because God loves you. I love you. So
Okay.
yeah.
So your aunt, uncle, and your grandfather. didn't permit you guys to see him because they didn't want you to have contact with his father?
Yeah. So once we moved down here, Mario did threaten a little bit, and so I guess they just don't deem it, what's it called? Don't seem that it's safe for us, which I understand because what he did wasn't right. So, yeah, we haven't seen him in 3 years.
Okay, well, hopefully that will change so
Mhm.
your youngest brother will know, the four of
That,
you.
yeah.
So what words of encouragement or advice would you give to anyone focusing on adolescents who may find themselves in the situation that you and your siblings were in?
Um, I would say what's happening to you is not your fault, and it probably feels like it is because you have no control over it, but it's not your fault. Your life is you're growing up too fast, and you're allowed to feel tired. You're allowed to feel sad or confused, and you shouldn't it shouldn't have to be like this, but it is. So you have to go through it in order to realize that there's something good on the other side. And I think it's always okay to cry. It's always okay to talk to someone about it. It's never okay to just keep it to yourself. And I think that you are a powerful person, and I think you have so many things coming for you. And I think you have the just the smarts, you have the talents, you have the beauty to be able to. So, and I think you got this.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much. And it is my desire when this video goes live that someone, and hopefully a lot of someone's, will see it and hear your words. And they may not be on the other side right now like you are, and maybe they're going to get there. And so your words of encouragement and just sharing your story can help someone. And so it's my prayer that someone will share it and share it and share it and share it until those who really need it will be able to hear that you've made it through and you still have so far to go. You still have your whole life in front of you, but you know what? You're here to share the tale. You're here to share the story. And so I just
Exactly.
thank you so much for spending time with me on this podcast. And I just wish you all the best for you and your siblings in the future.
Thank you so much, Dr. C. You're
You're
awesome.
very welcome. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yes. Oh, bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye bye.
You
Thank
too.
you. Thank you once again for joining me for another episode of Sisters Keeper podcast. This is Dr. C, your host, and I'm signing off. God bless you.